Hello, and welcome back to part 5 of Intro to Computer Networking. This is the conclusion of our mini-series about computer networking, and I'm so glad that you've stuck it out to the end with me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on my computer science content. And now let's dive into network security, our final point of interest for this series. William Golding, who was the author of Lord of the Flies, said that man produces evil as a bee produces honey. And we've seen this made manifest, of course, on the internet. And with the emergence of what we might call hackers, they're just simply bad actors that are going to try to abuse the internet and take advantage of its users for their own gain. And so we have to be militant against these bad actors in our security protocols. And part of doing that is understanding some of their tactics. So we're going to take a look at some of the most common tactics that hackers use, and then we're going to look at how we might defend against them. So one tactic is called packet sniffing. And so what happens in packet sniffing is that a hacker is going to take a look at any traffic that's being sent over a link and catalog it. And so in this example, we have computer B sending a packet over to computer A. But computer C has tapped into this link and can now read whatever data is being sent over it. So this is pretty similar to wiretapping on an old phone. And basically, what's going to happen is C is going to have access to whatever data B has just sent. And so you can see why this would be a problem if B is sending something sensitive like a credit card number. And so this is particularly prevalent on public Wi-Fi networks because Wi-Fi is sent wirelessly and it's emitted. So whoever is in the vicinity of that Wi-Fi can just read it and can catalog that. Additionally, if someone can gain access to a Wi-Fi router, they can configure that router to record any traffic that goes through it and thus have access to anyone who is using that router's internet history and anything that they've sent, including credit card numbers and the like. And so one way that you might prevent or counteract packet sniffing is through encryption, which is basically scrambling your data in a way that you need to know the secret in order to descramble it. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Another way that hackers might try and take advantage of the internet is through a method called IP spoofing. So to understand IP spoofing, we need to understand what an IP address is. An IP address is just very similar to a home address. It's a virtual location that's ascribed to your device that is going to help a router get the packets that are intended for you to you, just like your home address is going to help the mailman know where to deliver your packages. But with IP spoofing, what an attacker will do is send a fraudulent message, and then as the return address, effectively, as the source is going to identify themselves as a different device. And so you can imagine that this would be a problem. If computer A knows that computer B is a trustworthy source, and then computer C says that he's computer B, he can send whatever information he wants to A and sort of sneak by pretending he's someone he's not. He's in disguise. And so he might send malware that's going to run on computer A and destroy it or gain some sort of access to private data through it. So one way that we're going to combat this is through firewalls, and another way is through authentication, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. A denial of service attack is another form of hacking in which hackers are going to flood either a router or a server or some sort of internet resource with so many messages that it overwhelms it and effectively brings it down. It effectively takes it offline because it's so overwhelmed that it can't function any authentic requests that are sent to it or messages. And so to generate this volume of packets to be sent to this target, often what's employed is called a botnet, which is a group of computers that have unknowingly been taken over by a hacker through a means such as phishing or some sort of social engineering to get people to download malware. And then those computers are going to be deployed to send a bunch of fraudulent packets to whatever the resource is that is being attacked. And so firewalls, again, are going to come into play here because they're going to help filter out any data that seems like a DDoS or a DOS. A DDoS is simply a distributed denial of service. That's when more than one host is perpetrating the denial of service and is generating packets. So what can we do to defend against these attacks? Well, one way we can do this is authentication and have some way to prove your identity that's not just lying about the origin of a packet. And so cell phones actually do this automatically. They have what's called a SIM card, and mobile network providers can authenticate where traffic is coming from because it's unique to that. The SIM card is unique to that device. And so when data is sent, mobile networks can verify that that data is in fact coming from where it says it is. Additionally, you might have simply a password that's going to authenticate you. It's going to let you into the system so that you have to know that password in order to gain access to that information and not just say you're from a certain device or a certain location. Another way that you might protect yourself on the internet is encryption, and that's basically scrambling your data so that no one else can read it. And encryption is as old as the hills. Julius Caesar did it, but obviously not on bits and bytes, but he did it with his transmissions to his generals. And so you'll see, for instance, in hypertext transfer protocol, that data is encrypted automatically by means of the protocol regulating it so that no one else can look into that data. VPNs are another example, and they're going to further encrypt your data so that no one, even if they can crack the HTTPS encryption, is able to look at your data. And a final way that data is authenticated and bad actors are hampered is through digital signatures and hash algorithms. These are going to perform a function similar to encryption, but they're going to scramble your data in a way that's unique to you so that someone else can look at that scramble and descramble it and see how it was scrambled. And if it's scrambled in a particular way that only belongs to you, then it is your data. But if it's scrambled in a way that is not anticipated, or it's not able to be deciphered, even though they know it's from you, that's going to indicate that the data has been tampered with or is perhaps fraudulent. And so these are some of the basic ways that people are able to protect the internet. But hackers are smart, and so new ones are being discovered every day. A firewall is a final example of something that protects the internet. So it's going to run on all kinds of devices, and it's basically going to scan any incoming data. And it's going to look for malicious content. It's also going to restrict packets that are sent from certain sources. And in this way, it's going to prevent DOS attacks, because it's going to be able to observe that a certain source is sending too many packets, or that an untrusted source is sending a packet, and prevent that from reaching further into a network or reaching a host device. And so firewalls are employed all over the internet to keep it safe. Thank you so much for watching this video and this series. That's all for Networking Basics, but you'll be hearing from me again soon to talk more about networking. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment, and I would love to discuss. Thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.